Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft Amplified server. It is that time again, and right now I'm actually in the middle of sorting out all of my chests. I'm doing a little bit of tidying up, some rearranging, and I have a good opportunity to record, and there was something that I wanted to talk about, so we're going to have a little bit of a chat at the beginning of this episode. And yes, I'm rearranging things, and I'm also trying to reduce the amount of item frames that we're using here. For example, the eggs, do I really need to know that they're stored there? No, I do not. So I want to remove a couple of these just to reduce lag, because lag is becoming a problem, and I think these item frames may be a little bit unnecessary. So I'm in the middle of that. What we're actually going to do is grab some dark oak saplings. And, oh yeah, that's it. They're over here. They're in this chest. That's good. And we're going to go down and plant some of these trees, which is something that I've been meaning to do for some time now. Seem to always get distracted by little projects and ideas that I have. Anyway, if we have a look out here, you can see that Force has extended the path around this area now as well, which is awesome. I was chatting to her, as I mentioned, a couple of episodes back, and I laid down loads of markers, and she's just finished putting all of the paths together, which is awesome. And that means we can now extend the canopy. Doesn't that look cool from over here? Hermit Hills. I really like that. That was such a fantastic project. And yes, the plan is to have a canopy around all of our paths, and that's what I'm going to work on today. So, as we head down there is a topic that I want to talk to you about. A couple of episodes back, we talked about having a second channel which you could subscribe to, and it would remove ads from this channel right here. And a lot of you left a comment that I wasn't expecting in the slightest. Of all the things I sort of thought about and pondered on, this was one thing I didn't expect at all. Probably because I don't use it myself. Adblock, yes. A lot of people were talking about Adblock. It is a program that removes ads from videos and all over the internet, which sounds like a really cool thing at first. Except I think a lot of people don't realise, and me myself, I've never used Adblock. However, since I realised the importance of ads, I now know that I would probably never use it anyway. So the internet as a whole, its economy, everything it kind of relies on is based on advertising, basically. That's the main source of income for the internet. And so think about all the websites that you go and visit and that you use. You know, someone's got to have a salary to run that website. There needs to be servers that are hosted, etc. And all these things, they cost money. And the main way that they get paid for is through advertising. That might be a little bit close to the path there. And yes, so all the wonderful things we have on the internet, a lot of them really does come from advertising. If you just sit back and think about it, where does the money come from? It comes from those adverts that you see on the screen, you know. And that's how I actually do this for a job. So if it wasn't for advertising here on YouTube, I might not actually be doing this. It would probably still be a hobby. I probably wouldn't put out as many videos, etc., because I wouldn't have the time for it. And so the fact that YouTube did this whole monetization thing allowed this to become a job. So if you step back for a minute and think about all the YouTubers that you watch that upload videos regularly and that you like to follow, you know, some of them are probably full-timers, and if it wasn't for the ads, then they wouldn't be doing that. You see, if the ads disappeared tomorrow, let's say everyone used ad blocker, then I would have to stop this immediately and go find a job, you know. It's as simple as that, really. It pays the bills, therefore I can do it as a job, and if it doesn't, then I'm going to have to do something else. So, sorry about that. I got a phone call in the middle of recording. It happens from time to time. I've emptied this chest, by the way. We're just going to remove that, and I've been planting down some saplings while on the phone, and this place is really getting extended now. The canopy is looking cool. We're going to continue planting down these saplings while I chat to you. Kind of lost my train of thought a little bit, but this next point that I wanted to talk about kind of goes a little bit beyond ad blocker. In fact, it goes way beyond ad blocker. It's a kind of general little life lesson, I guess, that I've learnt. So you might say to yourself, you know, I'm just one person using ad blocker, I'm not going to make a difference. And you should never tell yourself that you don't make a difference, or you should never like unempower yourself, if that makes sense, in any way, because you do make a difference. Just by being here, just by being alive and participating in the human experience, you are making a difference, because things would be different if you weren't there. And that kind of logic might sound a little bit like, yeah, or you might kind of see the deeper meaning of that. I don't know. But definitely think about that. There might be a path here as well, so we probably shouldn't put any more down in this area. And another thing that people often say as well, which I don't really like, is things will never change, you know, it'll always be the same, etc. There is a universal rule that applies throughout the universe, that things are always constantly changing. And this is like on an atomic level, that kind of thing, but it kind of transcends into bigger things as well. You know, everything is constantly changing in the world around you. And so, you know, change is always going to happen. And so don't think that things won't change, which is kind of a point to do with the whole not making a difference thing as well. So you might be one person, and yes, your usage of it might not make a big difference, but it does make a difference. And I'm not telling anyone not to use ad blocker here. If you want to use it, you know, go ahead. Just think about what I said, because It doesn't just hurt what I'm doing, it hurts things all over the internet. You know, the amount of money going into the internet will then go down because people are blocking ads, and it means that less things can happen as a consequence of that, because obviously, as they say, money makes the world go around. I would kind of disagree with that and say money slows things down, but that's just my opinion, and we're not going to get into that either. So, we made a bit of a difference here to the kind of canopy area, and I know that False wants to build right here, so I'm actually not going to extend this any further. What we are going to do is a little bit of purification and making things look good. I might extend it in that direction over there as well, and we've had our little chat about ad blockers. So, yeah, I'm going to work on the canopy for a little bit, and we'll come back and see it when I've done some more work. Do you know what? I am in a really good mood right now. I have a little more time than usual to record this episode, and the fact that I can go at a leisurely pace is just making this so much more enjoyable. And I'm doing some work around the canopy here, and I'm thinking, do you know what? We've got to start getting rid of some of these torches. Except that one over there. I like that one on the tree. But that means we're going to replace it with some jungle leaves and jack-o'-lanterns, and it reminded me of a little project that we need to do. And I have spoken to Mumbo about this. He said it's absolutely fine to modify his farm here slightly. We are very concerned about the lag in this area. Now it's slowly going down, and so we're trying to remove as many potential sources as possible. And this one right here, the tiniest amount of lag ever. However, we can make a slight improvement. This thing runs passively around the clock, and it leaves some items floating around here, which isn't the best of things. And of course, it's not Mumbo's fault at all in the slightest. It's just the way the game is. So what we're actually going to do is, well, I'll do all of this in a moment. We're not going to dig anything up, but down there I'm going to add something that's like a comparator that detects when this is full, and when it's full it's going to turn off the automation of the farm, which is really smart, because then it means as soon as someone takes out some pumpkins like I'm going to do, then the farm can start up again, and when it's full it'll stop, which will be a really cool little feature. So I'm going to build that, and I'll show you how it works in a moment. This turned out to be ever such a simple project. If we go on the other side, you'll be able to see what I've done. As I said, really simple. We got the comparators, we got blocks here. Below them we got redstone, so the comparators is sending the signal down. You can see it goes down on either side, and then behind here we have a couple of repeaters, and these are powered, which means they're locking the repeaters in front of them. Now on the other side of that, which is kind of hard to see, we'll remove that for a second, you've got the redstone clock back here, and it powers this piston and creates a 4-tick pulse because of these repeaters on either side, and that's the way the farm gets powered. So by these being here, they're locking them in the off state. Now you might be thinking that there is a very slim chance that it will lock it when it's powered. However, if you think about it, when the items come down here and they're in the comparator, then the farm is not going to be activating at that exact moment. So when the items go out of the comparators and they're no longer locking the repeaters in front of them, if they get activated, a few moments later the items are going to fall down and potentially turn on the comparators again, which would mean it wouldn't be active when they turn on. So it works perfectly, it's brilliant, and we're done with that. That is a nice little addition, and at the moment I think these hoppers are full up. And there's a couple of items there, let's pick those up. So yes, a nice little addition, and I'll just tidy this up quickly. And it's done! This is coming along real good. I'm having such a good time putting all of this together. It's really nice doing the pretty stuff sometimes, and I've got to say, I'm starting to feel quite confident with it as well. So a few episodes back, quite a few episodes back now, we have been certainly sidetracked by many other projects. We put in this path, and I asked for some feedback about this area. You guys gave me lots of ideas. I had a few ideas on my own as well. One of those is to put mossy cobblestone down in the path here. I think that's a nice little addition, but there are quite a few things that I have done around here. One of the things that I think looks really good is where you have these oak trees on top of dirt. I've just removed the dirt and put the oak wood going down, which looks pretty cool. And I've also done that wherever there's these leaves as well. Oh, right there, that's a good example. I'm not sure if I hit up all of them, but you can see when there's a dark texture just the other side of the leaves, it looks so much better than having the dirt there. So I've kind of gone over in this area a lot. What I've been doing around here is getting rid of all of the torches and replacing them with leaves, and you'll see something that we've done here. A little stone patch like this looks absolutely amazing, I think. I saw this in one of Doc M's videos where he did a tour around his realms thing, and the guys just put a little stone patch out the side of their building, and I thought that looks really good. Just such a simple little thing to do. Let's put a torch in the tree so there's some light on the top of that as well. So around here we have a few other things as well, like leaf patches. You may notice this as we walk around. There's some leaves bulked up together, and so this area is looking pretty good. Haven't gone too close to XB's entrance area. I'm sure he'll see the canopy extending and maybe work on that. So if we go around to the other side, we can see a few more things. There's another stone patch right here on the left. This one looks really nice as you approach it from this side. I like the way it wraps around the tree. That looks really cool. And you can see just putting some vines down here and there, it looks ever so nice. And another thing I've been doing is actually putting the vines on the side of dirt. I think actually Fulks might have done that intentionally around this area, but I noticed it and I thought it looks really nice because it feels like the grass is kind of extending over a little bit. You know, you get some more green, and the dirt texture itself doesn't break up the flow so much, which is really cool. And this path here is also especially nice, and that's pretty much what I've done so far. You know, I could probably do a little bit more, but I think we should take it easy, let other people use the space around here, because obviously this area isn't too inhabited yet, and rather than fill it up with trees, we'll let people do things. And another little stone patch at the end here, that one looks really cool as well. So I've had an absolute blast doing this, and now it's time to move on to something else. There's a whole bunch of things that I want to do, and I think the next thing to do is actually to remove all of the pens for the animals and the crops over here. So now we have a cow farm. What we really need is just a few cows set aside so someone can come along and breed them and then take the ones they've bred away to start their own cow project. Same thing for the pigs as well, even though we don't really have a pig farm yet, and we probably need to do something a little more official and planned with the sheep over there. But all of this can go because Tango's built a little farm down the bottom there, so we don't need any more of these carrots and we don't need any potatoes or wheat. We also don't need the pumpkins or melons as well, do we, because of Mumbo's towers, so that's pretty cool. We took down the sugarcane farm a while ago, and just in here, can't remember if I showed it or not. I'm going to have to remember to edit the volume at this point because it's loud in here. But just around the corner we have like a nano farm thing, so that's for the wheat, the carrots, and the potatoes. So we can do away with these temporary farms now, open up the space for other people to do community projects and things like that as well. So I'm going to remove it, and for these animals right here, we're going to build some little pens somewhere in the canopy, you know, a nice little aesthetic pen for the animals rather than something like this, you know, something that looks pretty. So I've been working away for a couple of hours now, and I gotta say, I love working on this. It is so cool. I think it's really satisfying because as you're going around making things look pretty, all the pretty stuff around you is just nice to be around. And I made a few little changes up the top here. A few little changes. I've just done something, a little bit of an experiment. I put some vines on top of the canopy over here because every time I looked out I noticed that it looks kind of bland when you look in that direction, so I thought maybe some vines will just break up the textures a little bit, and I kind of feel like it does, so I'm probably going to spread those out, but we have to do some more vine farming for that. And if we go around in this direction, I have done the pens, or at least two of them. So on this side we have the pig pen. I think it looks really cool. This one I decided to give a bit of a messy look. We've got a water feature in the background. We got some coarse dirt. And you'll notice that that carpet there is raised up. That's because there's lighting sources underneath. So a nice muddy little look for our pigs to hang around in. I think it's quite suited for those. And then a little sign here just reminding people to always leave 4 of them in the pen. That way, if you've got 4, you can breed 2 of them, take the 2 off, take them wherever you want, and then you can start breeding a whole new bunch. So I do like this. However, I feel it's missing something. Like maybe we need another colour in here because we've got a lot of green and a lot of brown, and it just feels like something is missing from that bit. And as we go around to the other side, I should also mention I've been wandering around and planting the occasional crops down. I think there is some potatoes over here and some carrots and stuff, so I feel like that just adds tiny little bits of detail here and there, so doing tons of that kind of stuff. Not going to go over every single little bit, but this next bit around the corner is the cow pen, and this one looks nice as well. Again, I think it suffers the same problem where it's just missing like an extra colour. There you go. So a lot of green and a lot of brown, and they've got some grass down here on the bottom. That's actually what inspired me to do the mud on the other side. I built this one first and I thought, it's a lot of green there, maybe for the pigs we'll try something different. So this one isn't as spectacular, but there is a very subtle change that I've tried around here, and actually where I've sort of put down leaves and vines, I've kind of covered up my changes, but I was thinking about these trees and maybe making them look a little interesting. So notice how this one right here is facing the other direction, and trees have knots in them, you know, where the branches I think grow and then snap off or something like that, and the leaf block is in the way there. So let's do a little bit of an experiment over here. Where would be a good tree to try this on? Maybe this one here. So let's put a knot in it, have that facing out. I'm not sure if that really works or not, and I noticed that the texture changing direction here kind of breaks up the flow a little bit. And so I'm not sure if I like that, but that's an idea. I also tried some roots as well. I've probably covered those up as well. Look, I put a leaf block on top of that. There's one right there. So with these big trees, what you could do is just break off a few blocks and put down some roots like that. And you can even have them diagonal as well. There are no rules, of course, and I'm not really sure how I feel about that, but it is something to try. And yeah, that's what I've been up to. And I've also updated the box on the server. That is the command block box. That's the one that stops Enderman picking up blocks and stuff like that, which we had a little bit of a problem with because initially we were going to try to use a mod to stop the Enderman picking up blocks. And that didn't work out, which was unfortunate. But now that I've updated the box even, it means that creepers will blow up again, and that the mob griefing game rule is set to true. So villagers can farm, all kinds of things can happen in and around the world. For example, I read on the wiki that these guys can only eat grass as part of that game rule. And I think I remember seeing it and thinking, that can't be right, because these guys have been eating grass while we've had it turned off, so maybe that is a load of nonsense. But yes, it's now turned to true. It means that creepers can explode. Endermen will not be able to pick up blocks in the overworld. They will in the end and the nether. If you can get an Enderman into the nether, that is, though. But obviously in the end, yeah, they'll be able to pick up blocks. And I think that's pretty much everything. Now when we sleep in a bed, we have a little message that tells you who's sleeping in a bed. It waits a little bit longer just so we can communicate to each other and say, hey, I actually need the night, or something like that. So there are a few other little tweaks and stuff that I'm probably not remembering as well. So things are doing good. And this area right here now looks really ugly because it's just completely flat. And a little bit of bone meal will help disguise that, but it needs some proper terraforming, I think, because you don't want too many big flat bits as well. And the grass texture, it's got the rotational thing in this patch, hasn't it? Look, you can see each one's kind of uniquely rotated. I actually really like that. Once you get used to it, it looks pretty cool, I think. But anyway, I am rambling on a bit. I've got to think about what we're going to do next. I'm not 100% sure. It would be a good idea to do the sheep pen. However, I might want to do something a little more elaborate with that. So I'm going to look at my notes. I've got a list of things that I want to do here on the server. I'll pick something and we'll get right to it. I noticed this thing from off in the distance, came over here to check it out for myself. It's pretty awesome, isn't it? It's D-Max Slime Farm. All the slimes come up to the top, and then you can see the iron golems kill them up here, which is really, really cool. And this island over here, by the way, is Crown Hall Island. He did actually build a frame up the top there, which he was going to build this little bit for up there. I think it's much better down the bottom here. It looks really cool next to the water, and it doesn't kind of like disrupt what's going on with Crown Hall, because I know that Slip wants to tidy up this little island here and make it look real pretty, and that is awesome. It worked out really well, and it connects up with my UHC path as well, which is awesome because we need to work on that, and I think this is a hint of what we should be doing next. So we've got D-Max little path right here, and you can see the slimes come up the bottom here. That is really cool. Nice little feature. I think they must go across. Looks like they go down a little bit, then across like that, and then back up, and then the iron golems kill them. All the drops go into here. This didn't have many in at all a moment ago. I think now that I'm in the area, it's obviously activating. So anyway, this goes off in this direction a little bit. What we could do is connect it up to this path over here, pretty up this area a bit, do some more of that. Oh, and by the way, there are no player skulls in here. I don't know what is happening with the other hermits. Maybe they didn't get the message. Maybe the guys need to leave a couple more comments. But the idea is that, you know, this is an opportunity for some of the hermits to get together, you know, do a little collab, kill each other, put their heads in the chest. I don't know. Hopefully they'll get the message and come over here and do that so we can continue work on this project, which at the moment I'm not really feeling in the mood for. But anyway, we could extend the path in this direction, have a little bridge, connect it up to D-Max thing, and then I think we could try that lapis wall and lily pad thing going over on this side, because we need to connect it up to the main island. I feel like going over in these directions will kind of go right through the middle. So maybe going down the side here is a nice discreet way of adding a path, and then it's going to go right up to this bit, which is next to the entrance of Mumbo's base. So this could be a good opportunity for us to kind of connect everything together, which would mean a little bit of terraforming, I think, because this bit here is quite steep. And do you know what we have? Ender pearls. We're actually going to use one right now. So one of the things I might do is a little bit of terraforming over here, just make it so we can have a path that goes up to the top, and then it can go over here through this area and then connect up with another path which is just over there. Is the one that goes right through the pens. So the other side of that, there is some markers for a path, and then that way everything is kind of connected. You can walk all around the server, which is going to be awesome. So anyway, I'll get to work on these things, and I'll stop chatting. I've been really chatty this episode. I know, I need to get some things done. I'm getting sick of this. Does that make you feel dizzy or what? Oh, it's so weird. I just placed down the lily pad, walked onto it, and there we go. That's good. We didn't have to use an ender pearl. Yep, throwing an ender pearl will help you out of those situations. It's happened to me a couple of times while I've been working in this area. And at the moment I have a limited amount of lily pads. But I gotta say, I think the lapis and the wall doesn't look half bad in the water. When I suggested that a couple of episodes ago, I got a few comments from people saying that it wouldn't look good. But I actually disagree. I think this looks pretty cool. And it would appear that walking on lily pads is a bad idea in 1.8. This looks absolutely bizarre. Let's throw an ender pearl. Let's try that one more time. This time we'll wait a little bit. We'll let the server go, okay, yep, the lily pad is there, and we'll walk across, okay, and then we'll do it quickly. So you've got to look down, by the way. If I were to click on that, I would be clicking on the side of that block. So like that, there you go. So it takes the server a little time to catch up by the looks of it. There goes another ender pearl. That one didn't even fix the problem. Well, it did, but... Aha! Creeper! You're now going to explode. I better kill you quickly. Not near D-Max thing either. And you've got to be careful clicking with the sword. They made it now... Oh. Maybe it's only in creative mode. But the idea was that when you're flying around in creative mode and clicking at stuff, you can very easily destroy stuff. So with a sword, when you click, you can't break any blocks. But that's not in survival, is it? That's just in creative mode. Anyway, we're getting horribly distracted. I have a limited amount of lily pads to test this out with, but I think it's going to work. And one of the things I'm slightly concerned about is the amount of lapis that we're going to use. So I've conserved the blocks that I've used so far, and it's going to make a nice little path just over to this bit here, and I think it's really going to look cool. So I'm going to take a trip to the swamp to get some lily pads. Now this part of the path over here, I'm going to need your feedback on, because I don't think I'm going to do too much more to this today. It doesn't really mix with the white path too much. I'm not sure what to do here. Maybe cut off the white path that D-Max started just there and have it meet with our more, I don't know what you'd call this, but more natural kind of sporadic path. I don't know what to call it. I don't think this looks that great either, actually. I think there's just too many textures. Maybe these ones need to come out. But there you go. Sort of prettied up this area a little bit. We have some big trees on either side. The vines are growing down. We've got an enderman who is holding a barrier block that we can't see. And I guess we can't force him to place that. And they don't drop the blocks, by the way, as well. But if he places the barrier block, the box will instantly remove it. If you saw the tutorial I did on that, you'll understand exactly why. So anyway, just a few things in this area. You can kind of see them yourself. There's some decent lighting that's been put in place. Less torches, although we've got one on this little bridge. And as you saw a second ago, one of the problems with these trapdoors are if you go on the pressure plates, it opens them again. But I just put in this little bridge, and I think it looks nice. I like it. So not too keen on the path here. I might change it up, I'm not sure, but what I want to do right now is get some lily pads and finish this off, because we want to extend this path going up that hill and connecting around to the other area. Look at Biffa there being a funny old sod. Yeah, I've done a little bit of work to the path over here. You can kind of see we just ended this bit up here, and I think it looks a little bit better, but I'm unsure about that, and we're done with that. Oh yeah, I added some vines actually as well, so they've started to grow. That looks a lot nicer as well. But anyway, let's have a look at this path over here. It looks really good. I gotta say, I think this is going to be a love-hate thing. You're either going to look at this and think, yeah, that's awesome, or you're going to look at it and think, no, it's ugly. I really do like it. I like that it means you can walk across the water, and you kind of keep the blue going on, where you got some of these lily pads as well, and it's awesome. I tried a few different things actually. I did put down a lot of wool, and then I tried putting down a lot of lily pads, and I even tried leaving little gaps in them as well, and that was actually quite bad, because if you fell into the water, then it's like, oh, and then you'd been slowed down. So I ended up with this right here, a nice balance of both. I think maybe it could do with a touch less lily pads, and maybe a little bit more lapis as well, because that breaks up the texture of the blue. In fact, I think the lapis works better with the water than the wool does. But there you go. It leads over to this area, and I've just started doing a little bit of preparation for what's to come right here, because we have to build a path that goes up there, and it's going to be quite steep. So just over here, Mumbo had a load of chests, and I took them down, I moved them over here. It's got absolutely everything that he had. You know, it's just been moved into these two chests, basically, his whole setup, so I haven't taken anything from him. I'm sure he won't mind. And yeah, I tidied up this little bit over here as well. We've had that, you know, day one bed island and all of the farming stuff over here for a long time. So that's gone. And now what we can do is work on the landscape right here. So we do need to do a little bit of terraforming. You can see that this is quite steep and it gets there quite quick. And if we look at the entrance to the sugarcane farm, when you're approaching from this area, you really want to be able to see that. And so you can see there's definitely room for us to tear down some of this right here. And to pull it down at this kind of gradient, I think looks pretty good. So all of that over there can go. And then maybe a bit more at the next level as well. I don't want to do too much of this on camera. I do want to get a lot of this done before the episode is over. But I just wanted to give you an idea of what's going into this. So that now is much nicer. You can see the entrance have fallen down through one of the gaps. There isn't many of them. There's one left over. Let's put down a lily pad so that doesn't happen again. You've got to face down when you place them. And yeah, now we can start working on this bit. So there's going to be a lot of terraforming here. Let's get a good idea of what we're going to have to do. I think we're going to go for a 1-for-1. Rule number one of terraforming, it's going to look ugly until you've done some work on it. We got grass and dirt everywhere, no bushes, no grass, just torches. It does look a little bit ugly, but the shape is a lot better. I kind of feel like it is a little bit too steep over here, but what can you do about that? It's amplified. So we kind of flattened out a bit more area over here. Decided to cut the last bit short because I didn't really do much. So I'm going to build the path next, and I just wanted to show you the kind of shape that we've gone for here. So I've removed that big chunk of floating land that was sticking out of the ground. The entrance to Mumbo's is nice and curved off here as well, so he'll have a little path that can go down and connect to this one. Now I don't want to connect up Mumbo's stuff, I'll let him do that in his own time. I'm going to focus on having a path that comes up here and then goes around this corner, and just, somewhere around the vine farm it's going to stop, because that thing needs to be moved as well. So that's the plan. I'm going to work on it. This bit over here I think is going to have some steps, so we'll probably have maybe a bit of a structure and a wooden path or something like that that just flies up this bit right here. And then down here again, Mumbo can connect up the paths from his two little buildings here to this one right here, which is really cool because it connects everything together, which is awesome. But now the episode is really kind of drawn on a little bit here, so I need to get to work. I'm just going to do all of this path. I show you it when it's done, and then we can wrap things up. I gotta say quickly, I'm getting about 30 frames per second right now. That's not good. It has gone down yet again. But I gotta say, yes, this is not the most prettiest or outstanding thing ever built, but it does the job, and I quite like it. And I've fallen in the water. That's great. Let's hop up here and walk through. So once again, the same rules, the things we've been learning recently. Grass looks lovely. Remove all the torches. Put down the leaf blocks with the jack-o'-lanterns underneath. That is awesome as well. And this path right here, I think I got the balance just right. And a lot of the things that you're seeing here, I have actually kind of like ripped out and tried different things, rebuilt, and this is my favourite so far. So for this staircase, I wanted to do something real simple, and I didn't have a lot of spruce wood on me. That was my first choice, so I decided to go with birch. Nice bright colours. We've got the stone bricks, which I think Mumble will approve of, and inside here we've got some lighting as well. You can see that's with some glass, although you can see the orange from the jack-o'-lantern. I don't think that's too bad really. And then on this side over here, tried to include a little bit more of the stone bricks, kind of every other thing, but it didn't really, I don't know, it didn't really do much on that side. I kind of felt like having another trim over there just made it look a little bit ugly, and I like this actually because it kind of goes with the gradient, it's coming around this corner, so you got the lighter bit on that side, and you got the rail, or the whatever it's called, on this side over here. Anyway, enough about that, let's go up to the top. You can see this path through here looks really nice, I think. We've got some of these stair blocks in there, the occasional fern, and again the grass just around the place makes things look nice. And I've done a lot more torch removal. I love doing that, it just makes things look so much nicer. And what's even better is you can hide this stuff just by having the grass around, and that makes it look more lived in as well. And there you go. That is the path at the top here, and I think we're going to wrap things up now. I just got to remember if there's anything else that I wanted to say. So I knew there was something I forgot to mention, and speaking of that, I also forgot to finish rearranging these chests, so that's something I'll be doing in between episodes. But I wanted to mention that the gold farm, the one that gives us the crazy levels of experience, which I don't really have right now, Snow Crash, the guy who designed that, he's made a tutorial for it, and loads of you have been requesting that. So look down there in the description box, there's a link to that video. Go over there, check him out, say hello and thank you and all of that cool stuff, because it was really awesome of him to make a tutorial. And the other thing I wanted to mention as well is that I made a compilation time-lapse video of all of the time-lapses we did in the previous season of Hermitcraft. So if you've never seen that and you want to see some of the crazy builds that we did, like the Wastelands, which was a custom biome as far as you can see, it was absolutely crazy, and all of that kind of stuff is in there in that time lapse, so there'll be a link to that down there in the description box as well. But that's going to be it for this episode. If you have enjoyed it, please do leave a like, it will always be appreciated, and not every episode is going to be like this. I was just in the mood for doing some gardening basically, and I had a lot of fun doing it. I hope you did too. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.